If you're on the fence about the Steam frame, well, you shouldn't be.
Huh?
I've been using VR headsets for almost 10 years now, and in this video, I'm going to tell you why the Steam frame will probably be my main headset moving forward, and also why it could be the best VR headset if you've never owned VR before. The absolute #1 reason I'm personally looking forward to the Steam frame is comfort. After maining the Meta Quest and the Valve Index for the past few years, I am dying for something lighter. The Steam frame weighs about 440 grams, and that's when it's fully kitted out, including the battery. And Valve is calling it the lightest fully featured standalone headset made so far. And to put that into perspective, the Valve Index is about 809 grams, and the Quest 3 is about 515 grams. And then you've also got the PlayStation VR 2 at 560 grams. So the frame is lighter than all of them. And if you've never used VR before, trust me when I say weight matters. But raw weight isn't even the most important part. One of the biggest problems with the Meta Quest is that everything is built into the front of the headset, making it very front heavy. Whereas the Steam frame, the battery sits at the back of the strap, which means it doubles as a counterweight. So instead of all that mass hanging on the front of your face, it's balanced front to back. And that makes a huge difference between a headset that's heavy and a headset that's actually comfortable to wear. And there's a very good reason Quest owners always buy external head straps, is to counterbalance the weight of the damn thing, because it gets very uncomfortable without it. And the Steam frame real battery pad is soft enough that it collapses down, so the whole thing packs flatter and rests better if you're lying back on a couch or a bed. Comfort is a really underrated part of VR, and I think it's something that's been really holding it back. And from most reports, the Steam frame apparently is very comfortable, which is going to make it an instant buy for me. Now, reason #2 is power. The Steam frame runs on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and why that's significant is because almost every current standalone headset out there, including the Quest 3, runs on a chip called the XR Gen 2, which is based on the generation before this one. So Valve went a step newer with the more powerful GPU that comes with it. Then they also added in some 16 gigs of RAM, double what the Quest 3 has, which means the Steam frame is going to be a more powerful standalone unit, which helps because the frame isn't just running VR games, it's running full Steam OS on your face. Uses translation layers like Proton for Windows games, and an emulated Cord FEX to run PC-style x86 games on a mobile chip. It's also got an Android layer, so it can run standalone headset apps too. Now, I'm not going to pretend I understand what all that means, but I do know it means it can do a lot. But all it essentially means is that it can run flat-screen PC games and some lighter VR games natively, with no PC at all. So Valve has shown stuff like Hades 2 running right on the headset. There's also a Steam frame verified badge coming, which is the same idea as the Steam Deck. So it means games that hit 72 frames a second standalone get the tick of approval, so you know what will run well on the headset before you buy. There's even a micro SD slot, so you can pull the card straight out of your Steam Deck or the Steam machine, and your library's just all there. It's all just one big ecosystem. Now, we do have a caveat because it's still a mobile chip. The most demanding PC VR games, like Half-Life Alyx, they're not going to run at full fidelity on the standalone headset, and Valve isn't pretending otherwise. For that, you still need to stream from your PC, which is a perfect segue to reason 3, ease of use. And I think for a lot of you, this is the whole reason to get the Steam frame, because this is the easiest PC VR has ever looked. Valve is calling the frame a streaming first headset, which means it's built from the ground up to stream your PC library wirelessly. And the standalone stuff is kind of a bonus, well, in my mind. And if you own a Quest headset, you know how painful it is to connect to your Steam library from the headset. You need a really good router, and you need some sort of software to link the two. And half the time, they never work. I'm looking at you, Airlink. But Valve has done something VR enthusiasts have been begging for. In the box is a little wireless adapter that plugs straight into your PC and creates a dedicated 6 GHz link between your PC and the headset. So your VR stream isn't flooding your housemate's Netflix or your own downloads for bandwidth. The headset even has 2 separate radios. There's one just for the game stream and one for normal Wi-Fi, so they never step on each other. Then there's the clever part, foveated streaming. The frame tracks your eyes and it spends nearly all the image quality exactly where you're looking, and then quietly compresses everything in your peripheral vision. Valve reckons that's around a 10 times jump in effective quality for the same bandwidth, and it's always on, so developers don't have to do anything to develop for it, it just works. And it's that ease of use that makes the Steam frame so appealing. There's no base station screwed to your walls, there's no cable tethering you to a tower, and if you set up an index back in the day, you know the ritual. This is just put it on and your whole Steam library is there wirelessly. Now, reason number 4 is the one I don't think enough people are talking about, and that is that the Steam frame is modular, which means you can mod this thing up the wazoo. Valve is releasing the CAD files and the electrical specs, so anyone can build straps and face gaskets for it, and a whole bunch of other things. So if you want a rigid halo strap or a soft strap with the battery on a cable, or a face interface that fits your face perfectly, someone will probably make it, and it'll just click on. But the part that's especially interesting is the expansion port. It's got a lane of PCI Express and a camera interface built in, which means add-ons that actually change what the headset can do, which means there's potential for things like face tracking, full body tracking, depth sensors, even color pass-through cameras. So Valve's basically left the door open and said, build it yourself, which makes it an open device. You can put on a different operating system on it if you really want as well. But after seeing VR get locked down into walled gardens, a headset that you can extend rather than throw away in a few years feels like a different philosophy and something that's desperately needed. And that's longevity you can't put a price on. And reason number 5 is one that I think matters even if you don't end up buying the Steam frame, and that is competition. Because we all know where VR is at the moment. Meta has basically owned the standalone VR space for the last few years. And when you own a space, that it kind of gives you a monopoly and it means you get comfortable. We've all felt VR slow down. So Valve, a massive company that runs the whole Steam ecosystem, comes in and says they're serious about VR. That's the first standalone challenger we've had to VR in the last few years. And competition is a whole thing that pushes the medium forward. It pushes Meta to try harder, and it pushes prices and features across every other headset. And most importantly, it gives developers more options. Whatever you end up strapping to your face, you are probably better off in a world where Valve is in the ring. Now, the big asterisk on this is price. At the time of filming this, Valve hasn't announced the price or reservations, but I'm hoping by the time this video releases, it'll still be relevant and we all have our reservations locked in. But unfortunately, I don't think this headset is going to be cheap. This is an enthusiast headset, not the cheap way in. If you just want the simplest, most affordable door into VR, the Quest 3 is $599 and it's still the best headset you can buy. The Steam frame is for people who want the ceiling, not the floor. Because to be honest, the floor is getting lower and lower every day on the Quest. With the pivot to more free-to-play kid games, it's not going to be for everyone. But if you want serious VR, then the Steam frame is shaping up to be a really great option. And finally, the number 1 biggest reason to buy the Steam frame, especially if you're new to VR, is that VR is awesome. And that's the reason I've dedicated the last part of a decade to talking about VR. There's nothing quite like being inside a world instead of looking at it through a screen, and being able to physically pick up items and use them. That feeling still hasn't gotten old for me. I still find myself being wowed by what VR can do. No matter what the news sites say, VR is actually in a pretty solid place. We have a huge library of games available, and in my opinion, some of the best VR games are only available on Steam. The Steam frame unlocks that awesome PCVR library at a great resolution with easy connectivity, while also adding the bonus of playing your flat screen games. And I really think people new to VR are going to love jumping into the Steam VR library. Even the PCVR veterans are going to love the ease of use and comfort. So the thing I'm actually excited about with the Steam frame isn't any single spec. It's that a company like Valve said, we're invested in VR because they think it's great too. So that's my thoughts on why I think you should buy the Steam frame. Obviously, cost is a big factor, but I think it's going to be a great headset. And the only thing standing between me and the Steam frame is that little purchase button. But the second I get my hands on it, I'll be doing a full breakdown and review and a bunch of other videos about it. So make sure to subscribe so you can catch those videos. All right, I'll see you in the next video.